Hello and welcome to another game from the IMBA Cup round 1. This one's between Koecher and Tag Pebble, and they're both playing Sera, so it looks like there is a consensus. So what's the best faction for this map? Sera definitely seems to be it, with the floating arty. For the most part, probably the floating arty. It's so powerful. You can see Pebble actually going first air. Perhaps we'll see first bomber. He'll play is pretty quick. Still got 3 more games from round 1. Hopefully I get to them this weekend, depending on when people play those. And you can see a lot of aggression here. This is where Pebble will move his bomber immediately here. 101, that's exactly when it came out of the factory, and it's well on its way. And surprisingly, actually yeah, now Pebble's switching to 3 pigeons. Usually you get 3 pigeons and mask extractors. You can see going after the Hydra pretty aggressively. That's something that people haven't really been doing too much in this game. Interesting from Koecher here is just gonna build a factory off the ledge. What's gonna be most important at this point is how well Pebble can use his bomber. Already gets 1 kill on the first pass. It's excellent. Instead of flying directly over Koecher's base, he's just going on the outside, taking out any expanding engineers. It's a very nice idea there from Pebble. See flag coming out for Koecher. He's got 2 flags. This engineer taking the long route. Pebble just made a whole circle around Koecher's base with this bomber. Perhaps yet another bomber. Pretty devastating now. 3 engineers. That's 150 mass taken away from Koecher. Great stuff. That should be a big advantage. Although it looks like the players are playing with score, and Koecher's still doing a lot better. Looks like Pebble was busy doing all the bombing micro. Still doesn't have too many engineers out in the field. Looks like from second air, total of 5 kills for this bomber. Looks like I missed a couple. Almost took out the mask extractor as well. Finally the interceptor for Koecher cleans up, so we see second air. Now bomber coming out for Koecher. Got another bomber coming, so perhaps we'll see a bit of counter-attacking. And the ACU for Koecher actually going down to this bottom slice. So even though there was a lot of early success for Pebble, doesn't look like Koecher is in that much trouble. He's got expanding engineers. He hasn't really taken as many mask extractors as he could have. I can see quite a few more here for Pebble, but should still be in good shape. And depending on how well Koecher raids, he should be able to take out a few engineers. I see some interceptors for Pebble, but bombers on either side looking for these expanding engineers. Could be very powerful, and looks like Koecher will be able to hold on to this slice with the ACU, get a few factories, and factory started on the other slice as well. So good work raiding. Let's see if that bomber is actually successful. Didn't drop off the bomb in the first pass. Maybe a bit of an interceptor fight here. Koecher's interceptors flying in a straight line might just get hit. Really spread out air force for Koecher, and actually his bombers aren't being that effective. He's got 1 kill here. This bomber is taking a long time to get his get the engineer. This would be an obvious target that isn't being hit. That transport a bit lost there for Pebble, but total air domination now by Koecher, and he's bombing engineers directly in Pebble's base, also targeting power. This was a massive bomb here. Stationary anti-air now. Coming up, a couple more engineers. This is a major payback now for Koecher. But perhaps it would have been better, instead of attacking the main base here, take out this engineer. Had so many chances to take it out, but didn't. But now Pebble has a foothold on this expansion. Absolutely nothing on the slice. So in terms of map control and expansion, Koecher definitely with an advantage. But a lot of T1 power now for Pebble, which means he can make a lot of air very quickly. He also has a transport, and looks like he should be able to get air back. 2 kills with interceptor. Will be killed. Looking at Koecher's base, also quite a bit of power, but only a single air factory. He's choosing to use engineers to spam his air. He's got a pretty nice air force going as well. Still hasn't finished the Hydra here at minute 7. Nearly completed the Hydra, and this will be interesting here from Pebble. Floating already coming out, multiple factories, nice placement. At the tip of the slice for everybody. You can really put floating units anywhere on the map, so very important position. And you can see where Pebble is going. He wants to prevent any kind of building on this slice. He's got air force over it. There's a single factory, a second one being built, but not too much presence here for Koecher. The other slice looks to be pretty secure with the ACU. Actually, Koecher getting yeah, a third factory here. But that's a lot of floating arty, and looks like Pebble is making a couple more factories, and now a drop as well. So that after that early aggression from Koecher with those bombers, he's really stopped all kinds of raiding. Got a massive air force. He can he can definitely play defense, but he's got major problems. Let's see how he deals with a floating arty. Here coming up on minute 9. Koecher sensing that something's bad, gets air control above his expansion slice, but a successful drop here with an sneaky engineer for Pebble. Sorry. Looks like it will be spotted, but now this floating arty really doesn't look like Koecher realizing how much trouble he is. They're just going through. Now they're going to start killing units, and if they start hitting this power, that's going to be major problems for Koecher. All of his power is really concentrated in one area. The ACU is not at home to protect, and here Pebble really taking his time taking over the slice. And drop. This is a nice drop to pick up these rocks from Koecher. Koecher really looking after all the possible places he can get free mass, but looks like he's going to try to deal with this with Tech 1 bombers, and that's going to be very inefficient. It'll take a long time, allowing the arty to get a lot of kills, but no T2 air, no possibility of gunships. This is where Cybern would be very nice with the Jesters. Jesters would really clean up this problem very easily. But it is Sera from 4. Koecher, looks like Koecher also sending his floating arty on the slice. He can probably start attacking here, and some engineers getting free mass. So in terms of map control, perhaps almost an advantage for Koecher, but he's got major problems at his main base. And actually it looks like he's going to lose the Hydro. Just lost the Hydro. He's going to lose a few factories as well. And Tech 1 bombers are doing good defense, but not unable to really stop this flow of units. There's now a total of 4 factories producing floating arty, so it makes its way across the map. Some interceptors from Pebble trying to take out the bombers. Very valuable interceptors, because bombers is the only counter that Koecher is counting on. More drops perhaps for Pebble. Looking at Pebble's eco, very impressive. Tech 2 power now, Tech 2 land factory, Tech 2 mass extractors. So really Pebble running away with this game. A very simple method of giving Koecher a lot of problems with this floating arty. And then with the rest of his eco, he's got a whole bunch of it. He's just teching up. Let's see what he does with Tech 2 ground. Looks like Koecher is pulling his ACU back here at minute 12. He's really got to stop this flow of units into his base. That was a nice bomb, but you can see Koecher basically lost all of his power. That's most of his power. We should see some power spams planned for Koecher. He's got to rebuild it very quick. So at this point, Koecher basically finds himself with no Tech 1 power, very little Tech 1 power. At the same time, when Pebble has Tech 2 power, which means that the disadvantage for Koecher is just massive in terms of how much air and how much other units Pebble can produce. Now Koecher getting 11 kills trying to stop the arty, but it isn't stopping anytime soon. Actually, some success here for Koecher. He's giving Pebble some problems, but of course with all these land factories, all Pebble has to do is switch to some tanks, which he has, and tanks are a very nice counter to floating arty. That's really been the problem for Koecher at his main base. He only had 2 factories, wasn't unable to make a nice group of tanks, get a group of 10, 15 tanks and just have those stop this flow. And that would have really solved the problem. Looks like now Pebble switching attack orders here. He's going to try to take over the expansion slices as well. It feels like he's done enough of the main slice, and perhaps seeing the ACU deciding that it's not worth to throw away his units, and he's going to attack the less defended positions. Koecher in a lot of trouble. You can see at the score it's usually disabled, but in this one it tells the story that one of the players is doing much better. We've seen on Navy for Pebble. At Tech 2 Air Factory, plenty of Tech 2 power. We might see gunships very soon. And with no power, it's basically a matter of time until all this Air Force for Koecher is overpowered, overwhelmed, and then gunships can go to work. There's no T2 flak. Actually, looking at this from far away, you can see there's all these mask extractors are basically absent for Koecher. Koecher perhaps thinking that this did not go his way and it's time to end this one. This will take something amazing for him to come back. This is Koecher's first game in the IMBA Cup, so I guess it's a nice welcome by a pebble. It's interesting units here for Koecher. They're just dreaming about it, going back home or something, but they're not being very productive with a bit of an air fight here. Looks like these fighters have no fuel, which means they will die very quickly. Some T2 land now for Koecher, and it looks like this is the beginning of the end of an air force for Koecher. Many units for Pebble here at minute 17, and Koecher realizing that he's way behind. He's getting hit by Artie basically on all islands. He's just lost air, no way back. Koecher does realize that he made pretty bad mistakes not countering that floating Artie sooner. He expended a lot of resources on Tycoon bombers just to play defense, and they didn't really play defense very well. So pretty one-sided game with Pebble getting the deserved victory. Hopefully people enjoy this one.